Please won't you pray with me? May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts together find their way into the heart of God this morning. Amen. I always want to sing this when I start during COVID. Have you all seen Hamilton? Raise your hand if you've seen Hamilton. All right, I know it was very last summer, but like every time you show up, I want to sing, look at where we are, look at where we started. The fact that you're alive is a miracle, just stay alive, that would be enough. Anyway, look at where we are. Like the Who's down in Whoville, right? We are here, we are here, we are here, we are here. Say it with me. We are here, we are here, we are here. Yop. Do you remember that part? Doesn't that last little who yell out a yop, and that's how they finally hear? Am I getting that story right? Yeah, okay. Well, you're not responding. It's like I'm alone up here. So, did you all have good summers? Or okay summers? Or, yeah. COVID-y summers? Zach was laughing. I had a mixed summer. Maybe some of you had mixed summers. Like some of it was great, some of it was hard, scary. But I go to Star Island every summer, which is a little island off 10 miles off the coast of New Hampshire and Maine. And Star Island is a religious conference and retreat center in the Isles of Shoals, which are just like rocks in the middle of the ocean, right? That sort of poke out of the ocean. And I've been going to the same place with a group of 270 people every year for the past 25 years. It's mostly the same people all the time, the same families return over and over again to the island on that same week. You know, they all pick a week and they just come to that week for their entire lives. And it's like a church, you know. They're there for generations. They all know each other, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like a small town too. Like there's a lot of gossip, and you know, people get mad at each other and then make up, or just avoid each other in the dining hall or whatever. And like all churches, the conference I go to is like a river. We maybe start out small and then we pick up speed with gravity and time, and we collect water as we move. We collect people along the way, sometimes drying out a little and then picking up some more, just like a church. People come and people go, and babies are born and people die every year. And we mourn our dead together in that little chapel that sits at the top of the island. And then we pick up where those people left off, just like we do at church. Like all mortals, everyone is precious to us and to God, and not one of us is expendable, and also everyone is replaceable, you know, just like in life. The small island in the middle of the Atlantic that the hotel and the fisherman's village are built on remains exactly where it has always been. It is there to this day, a rock poking out of its ocean home, ready to welcome us back, just as it has for as long as humans have inhabited it, which we know predates when it was discovered in 1614 by Captain John Smith. The island has, in other words, a very long history. Apparently, the pirate Blackbeard and his wife were out on the Isles of Shoals after he stole a bunch of treasure. I think he was there hiding, and they hid it on the island far beyond the reaches of the law. And eventually, Blackbeard had to leave his wife, the story goes, on Star Island to go back to Portsmouth, I don't know, to go grocery shopping or something. I don't know what pirates do to get food, you know, when they're out on an island. But anyway, he left his wife there, and he left on a boat, and he never returned. He just never came back. The legend is that he might have been caught and jailed, you know, for his crimes on the mainland, and his wife never received word because she was on, you know, a remote island somewhere. And so the story goes like this. Every night when she waited for him to return, Blackbeard's wife went out onto the pier, on the edge of the pier, in all seasons of the year, in her white nightgown, staring off at the boats in the distance with hope in her eyes, sort of romantically and tragically, yes, and chanted wistfully across the ocean, "He will come back, he will come back, he will come back." She did this every night until she died, and he never did come back. And so the ghost story is that she still haunts the island. The kids hear this ghost story every year, and people supposedly see her in her translucent, milky white nightgown still on the end of the pier and have heard her chanting, over the waves, "He will come back, he will come back, he will come back." So still, to this day, whenever people arrive at Star Island on the boat for a week-long conference, the people who live on the island don't say hello. Instead, they chant as the boat reaches the pier, "You did come back, you did come back, you did come back." And the people on the boat chant in response, "We did come back, we did come back, we did come back." It is a chant of profound jubilation, right? And when a conference leaves on the boat at the end of their stay on the island, the people who live on the island don't say goodbye to the conferees. Instead, they chant, "You will come back, you will come back, you will come back." And we chant back, what do you think? "We will come back, we will come back, we will come back." I've been using this as a mantra all year, not just for Star Island, but just like for life. We will come back, we will come back. It is a chant of profound hope. And in 2020, of course, Star Island shut down its operations for the first time in decades, or maybe hundreds of years, I don't know, and was unable to welcome us back. So this year, when we arrived this summer chanting, "We did come back, we did come back, we did come back," it was a particularly poignant, defiant, and jubilant moment when we arrived, world-weary from a year of COVID trauma and division and isolation. And we were a much smaller group. We were about half the size. And so we had to yell all the louder, "We did come back," just like you all do. Try it with me. "We did come back, we did come back, we did come back." You have to use your arms. "We did come back, we did come back, we did come back." Exactly, just like that. And there were so many changes about the way we gathered this year, but the island was still exactly the same. The rock still stood in the middle of that ocean. There are so many changes to the way that we gather too, my beloved church, right? And there's grief involved in that because grief always comes along with change, but God is still exactly the same. So welcome home. You did come back. God never promised us a life free of suffering and illness. God never promised us certainty and stability. God never promised us our best life now, like some sort of self-help guru. God promised to walk with us on the journey through the desert and that she would one day deliver us home. So in our story that we read from the book of Joshua, we encounter the Israelites who, after 40 years, finally walk across the dry river bed of the Jordan to a land flowing with milk and honey. They leave behind the barren wilderness of the desert, the faithless grumbling of an entire generation of people, and the trauma they endured. And they jubilantly walk into the new world promised to them in Canaan. The slavery in Egypt and their endless, terrifying journey becomes a part of their past almost immediately, and a future of great possibility stretches out before them. And the land they encounter is more beautiful than they dared to hope, and it is different, but it is theirs, just as God promised. They are delivered safely home. The River Jordan had been terrifyingly rapid and impossible to cross, and God performed a miracle similar to the one that God performed during the Exodus from Egypt when he parted the Red Sea. He rolled back the waters of the River Jordan to assure the Israelites that God's promises were true. And after they crossed, God gave Joshua very specific instructions. Choose 12 men from the people, 1 man for each tribe, and command them. Take 12 stones from this place in the middle of the Jordan where the priest's feet are standing, and carry them with you and set them down at the place where you will spend the night. And Joshua did just as he was told and sent 12 men to hoist heavy stones from the Jordan River and pile them together as God asked. And they were stacked there as a memorial, a physical reminder that though the rapid waters threatened to carry them away, God had the power to overcome all obstacles. God would deliver them to safety, to home. Now, rocks don't naturally end up this way, right? We see them sometimes, right, when we go hiking in cairns, right? And we know that they weren't placed that way by nature, right? We know that that means that humans have been there. So there would come a day when Israel's children would ask why they were there, why those stones were piled up just like that. Tell them the story, God says, through the prophet Joshua. Tell them the story. Tell them the story about how the water rose and tried to wash us all away. But the people were delivered safely home by our God, who is our rock and our Redeemer. Tell the children that nothing is impossible with love when they see this pile of rocks, this memorial, this reminder, this place. Beloved, I know that we are flooded. The waters are still rising and threatening to carry us away. And some of us are just being aimlessly carried along, and many of us feel like we are drowning. But this church stands as a memorial that shall not be moved to remind us the promises of our God. Tell the children the story. We are here to this day. This sanctuary is here to this day. Look around. These people are still here. They are here to this day. Babies are born, people come and go and get old and die, but we are still here to this day. We did come back. We did come back. We did come back. The love revolution is here to this day. God is here to this day, reminding us that we stand on the promise that we can always come home again. Say it with me. We did come back. We did come back. We did come back. You will come back. And on this rock, we will rebuild our church. Amen.